All right, welcome everyone. It seems that we have not seen each other for 1 month already. So let's start the new No Wallet demo, which is 32nd. And our agenda will be today to review the recent releases, as well as to take a look on our completed third treasury proposal. We will go through each of the features, and we will also discuss any bonus features that we have been delivering while we were developing the feature set, which we agreed on. And in the end of the demo, we will also take a look on the roadmap and to understand what kind of features you can expect from us in our new proposal. So let's start. While we're waiting, you can always join our social media, like a Twitter, YouTube, and other social media links. Feel free to check our YouTube for recordings of these demos. You will find also a link in the description to understand, to see all these links, all the slides, if you want to review them more closely. But let's proceed further. So recent releases. For the recent releases, we have been releasing two of them. Actually, both of them came out 2 weeks ago. The first one was focused on the agile delegation. So starting from, I think, middle of March, both iOS and Android have access to agile delegations, which is pretty much exciting because I believe that we are the first application who deliver this functionality to the ecosystem. So it's pretty much covered in our previous demos. I will just go through this announcement. One of the biggest features here is that you can discover any delegates, and you can not only discover them on chain, but you can also discover something called like a delegate registry. So you can see more delegates who are submitting their information, like their biography, their pictures, how they're voting, their voting strategy. And so far, I think we have pretty much a lot of them submitted and available. So if you will go in the No Wallet to the vote, you will open the Kusama OpenGov, for example, and that will be available in any other OpenGov networks. I assume that Polkadot should have some pretty much soon. But if you will go to the Kusama OpenGov, add delegation, you will see this organizations and individuals. This is what it does. So this is accounts which submitted more information about them to attract more delegates. So that was available. Also, of course, you can delegate. It's pretty straightforward. So you can select the amount and the conviction for your vote to be distributed to the delegate. And yeah, you can always submit your information, what you want people to see about yourself as a delegate, so that they can understand should they delegate to you or not. But that was one of the releases. The next one happened almost immediately after, because we have done it in pretty much rush way. We had to rush it due to the fact that the Kusama network was supposed to update the XCM, or XCM is basically responsible for the cross-chain transfers. So if we couldn't release it on time, that would mean that the cross-chain transfers would not work on the Kusama. But it turns out that the update was postponed. However, we have rushed it and we delivered it just on time. So you can have access to your cross-chain transfers, and you can be assured that they will continue to work even when Kusama will apply these changes to the cross-chain transfers. And overall, the goal of these changes is to increase the version of the XCM to provide a more advanced functionality for the cross-chain transfers and other cross-chain features. Other than that, we have delivered in this version 5.4 release the staking improvements, and I will talk more about it a bit later when we will be covering the scope of the grant that we have just finished, and also the fixes and optimizations. So that was the 5.4 release. It was delivered on Android pretty much like a week ago. But for the iOS, it's still under review. So we are waiting the Apple to complete the review, and after that, we will announce that it is available. So that's kind of the sum up for the recent releases for the past months. So let's go back to the slides and let's discuss the Treasury report. So our scope for the third proposal was basically around the agile delegations. We pretty much covered it on today's demo and the rest demos. So I'm pretty sure that we don't need to go into the details to this one. But also it was focused around the staking improvements and community requested features. And just to remind you, for the community requested features, we have done the improvements in the security so that you can basically you can see the blurred image of the node whenever you you hide your application, and whenever you see the application in the app manager on your iOS and Android device. But also if you inactive for a certain amount of time, which is 5 minutes, then the app will request to enter the PIN code again, right? So this is like two nice small adjustments for the improving the security that we have. But two other features are more major. So in-app update notifications, we can actually see it on the demo right now. Let me open the emulator. So this is pretty efficient feature from what we can see on our App Store and Google Play. Since this feature was available, the amount of users who are getting the latest updates grow enormously. So now the users can see basically, we can see that users updating as fast as they can, basically. So the goal of this feature is to see, to display to the users the updates if they're available. And we distinguish those updates to major and the critical. So major ones are those who brings a lot of new features which are available for the users. And the critical ones is very similar to version 5.4, is basically the update which is focused on fixing certain issues or fixing certain functionality not be available in the previous release. So that's why this feature was super important, because Polkadot and other substrate-based networks which we support, they tend to update with a high frequency, which means that we need to catch up with them and deliver the updates as soon as possible. And we need to make sure that users receive them and update their applications so that they can access to their funds from the node wallet without any issues. So that's extremely important feature. It was developed and delivered. And the last one is the DApp desktop mode. That one was demanded by a lot from the users. And the reason is that the DApp browser that you can see in the node wallet, it basically implies that the application that you're about to open through the DApp browser, it supports the mobile resolution. So whenever we talk about the DApps, we mean that it's like it's a certain graphic interface developed by the team, right? And if the developers decided to allocate the efforts to make their application to be visible on the mobile platforms, for example, if you open the Astar DApp, we should see that the interface is pretty much adapts to the mobile resolution, which means that basically the Astar is mobile-friendly DApp. Yeah, we will wait until it loads. But other DApps, for example, Akala, Karura, and handful of them, they do not support the mobile resolutions, which means that the users even cannot access them, right? So we had to develop something called the desktop mode, which allows you to switch between the mobile resolution and the desktop mode. And the desktop mode can be seen as basically a preview of the same application like you open it on the laptop, but through the lenses of the mobile resolution. So it seems that it takes time to open the Astar app. So let me demonstrate on any other DApp, let's say on the Basilisk. So whenever we go to the Basilisk, you can see that the pretty much interface adapts to the resolution of the mobile UI, right? It even has these tabs like the mobile application. So this is really good. The Basilisk DApp doesn't need the desktop mode, but we can still turn it on, and that will allow us potentially to see how it will be rendered on your laptop or on your PC, right? So you can see that everything is smaller, but overall, this is the experience that you will have on the desktop, the UI elements and so on. So there are a couple of the DApps, and you can find them if you will enter like a desktop mode in the catalog. Or you basically can enter any URL, and any DApp which supports the MetaMask or Polkadot will be available from the Nova DApp browser. But you can see that those in the catalog, are basically only can be run in the desktop mode. For example, Akala, Karura, Mangata. And if you will open one of them, let's say the Karura, you will understand why. So if we will not run it in the desktop mode, then basically what we would be able to see, and let's see if, yeah, we can load it, the mobile version, it's pretty much not usable, right? So we cannot utilize the DApp because of the interface being focused for the desktop interfaces. So that's really the feature which allows us to open and utilize any DApp, even if it's not designed to work on the mobile. Now users can do this. And as people mentioning in the chat, for example, Kilt is one of these dApps that is now possible to be operated through the null wallet. So that was pretty much the scope of community requested features. For the staking improvements, let's go back to our proposal to get the list in front of us. Rise an alert for staking minimal tokens. That is basically to address the issue on the Polkadot network, which has minimal stake rising up almost like on a daily basis. And you can see by the moment when we were writing this proposal, the minimal stake was 213 DOT, right? And now after, I believe it was after 3 months, it now rises to the 363. So more than like 30% increase of minimal amount DOT required to start staking. So in order to address this issue, we now have this certain first warning. So our users will be notified if they trying to stake less than the minimum amount of staking, which is 363, they will have a warning that this amount of the staking will most likely not generate any reward. And we will also try to predict at least a certain percentage about this minimal amount of stake to just warn the user that, hey, even if you're going to stake something like 370 DOT, that still is pretty much a dangerous amount to stake because this value is increasing. So this is very helpful for the new users who would like to just start staking and they would like to stake as a nominator, which means that they will have the benefits of after restake, for example, but at the same time, they will need to meet the constraint of minimal staking. So that also was done. The backlist support. The backlist support is pretty much an interesting feature because it implies the situations when your staking for some reason will be not active, so you will not receive rewards. I'm sorry, give me like 10 seconds. Sorry for this. But anyways, if your staking for some reason became inactive, but at the same time you satisfies the requirement of minimal stake, that can happen. And previously our users were not notified at all. And any other application ecosystem will not tell you what's going on. Your staking will just stop producing the rewards. But what was happening is that the amount that required to be staked is actually divided on certain things like a bags, right? And these bags are allocated in certain intervals, like from the 200 to 20 DOT to 220 to 240 DOT and so on, right? And each of this bag has its own query. And if your position in this query is below a certain amount, then you will not become active. But there is a way to solve this, and now Null Wallet will provide this way. So if it turns out that you are outside this position in this query, and you will need to exit from it, and you will have the alert in the Null Wallet, which allows you to basically quit the query to, again, become an active nominator. So this is pretty much a complex thing, but we decided to like make it as simple as possible. So if it happens with your staking, you will just receive a small alert, which is saying like, you need to exit the query, and you can press on this, and you can confirm to execute this operation, and that will solve all the issues for you. So this is good. And overall, this is the all of the scope that we submitted in our previous Polkadot Treasury proposal. It was delivered in terms of development. It's available completely on the Android devices, and now we're waiting for the Apple to finish the review of the same scope. Let's hope that it will be available next week. So a part of these features that we have been committing to previously on the moment of proposal submission, it always happens that we discover something which is almost necessary to be delivered just to provide the perfect UX to the users. And you can see the list of these features which happened to appear in this proposal. So first of it is a search delegate on a delegate screen. Not only it allows you to basically easier find the delegate that you would like to from the list of the all delegates, but also it discovers you a new feature, which is basically to add a delegation by just the address. And the reason why it's so, the list that you can see in the Nova on the add delegation screen is consist of current delegates. So the accounts on the blockchain that already received delegations. But if you want to delegate first to some delegate, right, that will mean that you cannot do this because this account simply will not be appearing in this list. So now you can do this if you go to the search and you just enter the address of this account. That will tell the node that you would like to delegate to this account, and basically you would be able to do so. So which is great. Not only it also works in this way, but it works in the way that you basically can filter the list below. So you can enter any symbols and you can easily find the delegates which matching to this to the symbols that you entered. So that was crucial. We decided to add it to our feature set of agile delegations so that there will be no issues or no obstacles for people to start delegating to the accounts that they would like to. Edit your delegations. Pretty much similar to this feature of searching, but we just discovered that the process of setting the delegation, it includes the step of selecting tracks, right? And it feels that the users might change their mind, and if they will do so, they first can delegate from all tracks to just like to move their delegation from one delegate to another one, but they would also like to, let's say, revoke the delegation from the certain tracks, or they might to decide to increase the amount of delegation. So the edit delegation was pretty much crucial feature as well to be included in the first list of agile delegations. The next one was already mentioned. It was a part of our recent release, just to make sure that the cross-chain transfers will be available for everyone, despite the upcoming the Kusama upgrade and furthermore on the Polkadot. And the last one is pretty interesting one. The thing is, you can see the list of the governance supported in the Node wallet. If you go on the vote screen and you will tap on the network on the top, you can see pretty much a lot of networks here right now on my screen, right? Because I'm running the internal build. And this is pretty much the complete list of all available networks in the Polkadot ecosystem, which has the governance module enabled. But if you will open pretty much the same screen in the production version, you will not see as much networks as you can see now, but you will see, a shortened list, right? So it's about 28 on the left, and it's about, something like a 10 of them in the production version. And the reason of it that previously we have been integrating to the Polka assembly to just get this information about the referendums. Like you can see that on this screen, I can see the title like Paraspell XCM SDK. I can go inside this referendum and I will see the detailed description, and all of that was fetched from the Polka assembly. However, not all teams are utilizing the Polka assembly API, right? But they're utilizing something called Subsquare API, which is second platform for the governance, right? So we see that some projects utilizing the Polka assembly, another the Subsquare. So we had to understand that if we're going to integrate the Subsquare, we're going to dramatically increase the amount of the networks which can be used on the voting tab, because that's the whole point. The users need to understand the context of these referendums before voting, right? And we cannot just let's say, integrate the certain governance without any metadata, because how user can understand like how they should vote for this if they don't understand the context, right? But that was kind of a soft reason behind integrating the subsquare. We could postpone it pretty much like for months and allocate our efforts in a more, let's say, priority tasks. However, recently the Polka assembly decided to update the API, right, which broke our existing integration. So now we had to prioritize the subsquare integration so that we can recover, let's say, the OpenGov on the Kusama, the Polkadot network governance, and all the governances that we have in the application. So that was why we decided to rush this integration and to kind of include it in the current timeline and not request the funding for it in the upcoming Treasury proposal. So that's it about our committed scope that we have successfully completed, and also the bonus features which we delivered, pretty much in the timeline of our proposal. All right, and let's talk about the roadmap. So the roadmap can be found on our website. I'm going to use the website right now for presenting the roadmap of NOVA that we updated, but you can also expect the post in our social media. I believe that it will come something like next week, early next week. So let's take a look on this one. Let me know if you cannot see, but yeah, it seems that people are happy already. All right, so on the top you can see the previous year roadmap, pretty much lots of green check marks, but let's allocate our focus below on the first quarter 2023. So we have just completed the agile delegation, security improvements, and pretty much all the scope that I have been talking today. And the new feature right now for all demo participants here is EVM networks. This is something what we are working on right now. This was not a topic of Polkadot Treasury proposal or Kusama Treasury proposal, or basically any proposal from any network. We decided to self-fund this feature by ourselves because we believe that by expanding the amount of the networks, and in this case, it's basically by introducing a completely new ecosystem, right? It allows our users to benefit more, because we believe that people storing not only the Polkadot ecosystem tokens, but also the Ethereum ones, because Ethereum is pretty much one of the most popular networks at this moment. And we believe that people will see the power of the Polkadot features that we have in the Nova, and they would be able to manage basically assets across the different ecosystem, Polkadot, Ethereum, and others. So we're going to start integrating the EVM networks with Ethereum. I believe that next one would be the Exosama network, and we will see as we go. We will try to, to be very pretty much accurate with this, because it's completely new feature set for us, and we should be really careful with this. All right, so the next one, the second quarter would be focused on upgrading the nomination pools experience, because previously we have been focusing on driving users to the DApp for the nomination pools, but now we would like to bring something amazing. We're going to do both. We're going to upgrade the existing experience for the staking, and we're going to also introduce the completely new way right into the Nova to stake, which is nomination pools. And we're going to think about the UX, how can we combine them. So this is about nomination pools native UI. We're also going to upgrade the assets user interface, because we would like to have, let's say, alternative ways and more convenient way to do the funds management in a multi-chain application like a Nova, right? Because right now we have more than, I believe, 70 networks supported, and each of these network has multiple assets. So we have some ideas how we can improve the UX in this direction. And of course, with this, we're going to make the UI even more prettier than nowadays. Next one is the Wallet Connect version 2. For those who is not following, but Wallet Connect has upgraded their protocol version. So now it's chain agnostic, which means that Wallet Connect can be used by any ecosystem, including the Polkadot, which means that it's a perfect timing for us to integrate the Wallet Connect. And strategically, it will not only allow us to integrate, to connect to the dApps by using the Wallet Connect, but it will also allow us to connect to our desktop app, which is about to be released. The next one is the killed Web3 names. We're going to integrate the Web3 names firstly as a way to alternative to the address to be entered during the send flow. So you will now be able to enter the Web3 name in the address field, and that will allow you to basically after paste the address of this Web3 name owner, or to select one of the addresses that the owner of this Web3 name has submitted for their account to be available. This is also a pretty nice feature, so I'm really excited about this one. Moonbeam and Moonriver staking after compound was one of the, I believe, one of the hottest features so far in our groups as well. So as soon as it was released, I think 2 months ago, lots of folks asked us for integration. And before we go asking them to do it in the dApp browser, because the Moonbeam and Moonriver dApp allow you to check this after compound feature. But now we'd like to have it basically inside of our application, inside of our staking user interface. The next quarters, they still focus on the staking, but also lots of features such as .swap. The state mining and staking networks going to introduce the, let's say, native swap features. So lots of the ecosystem projects going to implement the user interface to access this DEX, and the Node wallet will be one of them. Besides that, we're going to integrate the push notifications. We have been working with multiple teams so far, and I believe that by the third quarter, we would be able to jump on this scope and deliver a pretty much interesting set of features in this direction. We'll also try to integrate the Moonbeam ledger support as well as the Moonbeam party signer support, so that our folks from the EVM networks would be able to benefit from the hardware wallets. With more EVM networks available in the Node wallet, we would like to emphasize our efforts on upgrading the experience of how you managing all these different accounts inside your wallet. Because right now we have certain interface, like some of the interface, it works, but we believe that we can improve it pretty much dramatically. The networks management is one of the features which was also requested specifically from our partners, from like a parachain teams and so on. It happens that lots of them would like to have their testnet integrated to the Nova, and we cannot just add like 20 testnets to the production application, because that will confuse the users who would like to deal with non-testnet tokens. So we came up with idea and a concept how we can make the network management inside of our mobile application, which will both provide this opportunity to basically add any network to the Node wallet, and you can basically commit it to our open source repository, and it will be available for all of the users. And the second, any user can control for the sake of the UX or for the sake of performance for the application, because they might run the app on relatively slow device, and disabling, let's say, 10 networks should pretty much improve their experience. So first, it will allow to integrate the networks like a testnets or maybe experimental networks. And the second, it will allow users to customize their experience. And of course, we're going to bring even more staking upgrades. The more details will come as we go. Bifrost SALP. Lots of our users started already to ask before we even integrate the Ethereum. They started to ask about the Ethereum staking, but also SALP on the Bifrost is pretty much liquidity staking. So that would be a great native interface to operate with the liquid staking directly from Node wallet. Not only it will allow you to select the liquid staking, let's say for the Polkadot, but also for the new tokens, let's say ETH, right, from the Ethereum, which is also great because more options is better. The multi-sig wallets and the proxies been on our roadmap even the last year, but we have been really carefully approaching these features because we believe that the Node wallet itself is more like a consumer-oriented project. However, we start to receive more and more feature requests from the different people, like financial institutions or super users who would like to see the multi-sigs and the proxies available in Nova, because it's amazing experience when you can, let's say, sign the multi-sig transaction as you go right from your pocket, not waiting when you will arrive at home to your desktop. So this is something what we will carefully design closer to the end of the year. And of course, whenever we talk about the multi-sig wallets, the address book will come at a perfect place, increasing the UX overall just for like all of the users, not only the multi-sig ones. And of course, you can expect more networks, more staking options, and more cross-chain features all over across this year, not only in the fourth quarter of this year. So this is a roadmap. Let me check the chat. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Yeah, 5 minutes left. Thank you, Lev. So this roadmap is our vision for this year. This year is going to be amazing for the Node wallet. You can expect that the roadmap is a subject to basically change, right? Because we are funded by the Polkadot, by the Kusama, by Moonbeam, by multiple networks, right? And it depends on the approval process for each of these features, or maybe there will be some urgent need to be implemented. So we will see, but this is at least our vision for this year for the Node wallet, and we are really excited about it. So let me jump back to the slides, and that would be it. So let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to jump to our community channels, like a Telegram group. And it was a pleasure to see everyone today. Have a great day and see you in 2 weeks. Cheers.